Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
We never know how to start.
No, we don't. Welcome back to the Pretend Problems podcast. I'm Kelsey Cook.
And my name is Chad, and it's great to see you.
It's great to see you too.
We've been away from each other for a while.
Yeah.
I had to go to New York City.
You did.
By the way, if anyone is watching this because of other podcasts I did in New York City, thank you so much.
Fuck yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. I go to New York, and you know I'm a bit of a foodie.
You are.
I really appreciate a good meal. I like a 10-courser. I was in New York for 2 nights, and I ate at 2 different places.
Okay.
Got 3 meals.
Okay.
Yep. 2 of the meals came from Chipotle. And then I'm sitting around in my room looking at the Chipotle, like everything, and I go, what am I, a king? It's got an aluminum top? This is a bit much for me. So then I went back to my roots and I went to, got a sub from Subway.
Oh.
So just to let you know, so thank you, New York City, for all the great food. The Subway did have 1 Michelin star. So I thought that was great.
Yes.
And an A rating. But I will tell you this, Chipotle and Subway, A rating.
Yes.
Yep.
You're like when Michael Scott goes to Sbarro in New York. He's like, really would love to try a slice of authentic New York pizza. That's you.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, it's like I was so busy that and I was by myself. So there's no time to go to these fancy meals. It's like you go, like if I'm going to go to Wicked, yeah, I'll throw some cash down on a meal.
Sure.
Because I love Wicked. Have I seen it 6 times? Yes, of course. We're defying gravity right now. It doesn't matter. But anyways, so I decided that I was just going to get stuff on the way back to the hotel. I was like either podcasting, sleeping, or eating, by the way, amazing food. Chipotle even tastes better in New York
I'm
than
sure.
it does normally.
I'm sure. Does it come out of you quicker?
No.
Same rate?
Yeah.
I just feel like New York's so fast paced. You got in 17,000 steps one day. I just was thinking.
I did.
You're putting it in your mouth. You're moving. It's moving.
You know what's crazy? I got 17,000 steps walking around all these podcasts. I don't, I take the train when I need to and it's too far, over like 3 miles.
Yeah.
Or I'll just walk it out. And so I do that. And when I'm golfing, I get more steps than that when I'm golfing, to let you know how much I suck at golf. I'm obviously like chasing my ball all over the goddamn golf course because I felt like I walked all over the city and I had 17,000 steps. So I can't even imagine what's happening when I'm golfing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Our step goals are so wildly different. I didn't even, when people say, 10,000 steps a day, to me, that's insane. Like, it's hard for me to even imagine hitting 10,000, and you frequently cross that. So I think I had set my fitness goal on my phone for like 4,000 maybe. And I'm pretty sedentary when I'm home. I do try to work out and go to the gym in our house when I can. But if I'm not going to the gym, it's 2 degrees outside in Minnesota right now. I'm not like going on a long walk. And so a lot of the time my fitness app on my phone will send me a notification at like 11:30 p.m. when it just shows that I've moved like 25 steps, and it's like, you can still meet your goal. It's like, can I, bitch? I don't think so.
I saw your steps one day and I'm like, do you fucking hover around here? What's going on? You have a skateboard I don't know about?
I don't get many steps. I don't know what's going on.
I don't either, but if you didn't notice the subtle flex on the home gym, I sure did.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, what are we going to do?
Well, I thought we could plug some tour dates real quick.
Okay, I'm also going to say we're having fun doing this. If you want to tell your friends, we got these new people from these other podcasts checking it out. Please do that. You can rate. You can subscribe. You can smash that like button.
Guys, smash it.
Smash that like button. I've never heard anyone say button before I started watching YouTube videos, and it sucks. It does suck pretty badly, but here we are. This is the age we live in. Our lives are being run by robots, and if you don't say the right things, they shut you down. Fuck. Okay. Let's do some tour dates.
Chad's been shadow banned on Facebook for a long time, and occasionally the anger seeps out.
It's unbelievable. Look, here I got shadow banned for saying someone asked me, if you had a time machine, what would you do? Use it to go back and kill Hitler. I was saying someone else said it to me, and I got shadow banned for suggesting you kill Hitler, which is wild. That makes me not like Facebook very much because they're getting complaints about someone killing Hitler. And it's like, guess who killed Hitler? Fucking Hitler. So I don't know what you want me to do about that. Like, I'm on your guys' team if I say kill Hitler, I guess. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C, bitch. Figure it out, dude.
Is that the Pythagorean theorem?
I don't think so.
That's the one with the lengths of the triangle.
Yeah, correct.
I was going to teach math.
So glad she didn't because, listen, there's a belt in this house. Want to talk about that?
Yeah.
We have a belt. We play, so let's say this week we're playing Wordle, the game from New York Times. Yeah. There's also a game on there we like, Connections. Mm-hmm. We will play Quirtle. We will play Nerdle, which is the math version of that. And I dominate her in Nerdle. Dominate.
No, you don't.
Oh my God. First of all, we have a belt. You want to pull it over here? Can you pull it? Okay. There is a belt on the shelf over here, and it says Wordle, Quirtle, Nerdle. You have to win all 3 in a row to get that belt. And I have, go ahead. Yeah, bring it on over here.
Fine.
Bring it on over here. Let me actually talk like I've won the belt. So anyways, you guys, you have to win Wordle, Quirtle, and Nerdle.
Oh, God. I'm so annoyed that I have to show this because I didn't win it this last time, and I'm
last time? Oh, sorry, guy that thinks I take a piss all the time. You haven't won it a ton. You've won it once, and I've won. This is the 4th time I've won it. What's up?
I don't think it's the 4th time. I think it's the 3rd time.
Oh, I promise you it's the 4th. I promise.
I love how it looks like the pillow's wearing it. Your comfort pillow trademark that you will not get rid of. We get comments every single episode. When's Chad going to get rid of the comfort pillow?
I don't know. When we get a Patreon and I can afford liposuction. I don't know. How about that? All right. Let's move on. But anyways, I won this belt and it feels great. And, I can't be stopped in Nerdle, and that's the math game. And she was going to teach math. So I think we're all very thankful that she became the wonderful comedian that she is, because I'm just going to tell you something. Your upper echelon for bringing the laughs, your math game, it'd have been a lot of movies, I think.
I am great at math, and I beat you in Nerdle all the time. I do. Whatever. I usually beat Chad in Nerdle. I think I've beat you in Nerdle more times than you beat me.
No chance.
Yes.
I'm very good at Nerdle. We gotta go.
We have to move on. It's gonna bother me what that's called. Is it called the transitive property? A equals B, B equals C, A equals C?
I think it is.
I think it's the transitive property.
Yep. And I think it's also, is it A squared equals B? No. I think that's the Pythagorean theorem. A squared
plus
B squared equals C squared.
Guys.
Look at us. Ooh. Send your kids. We also tutor on the side.
Everybody's left the show.
We're just trying to pay for this goddamn house. Send them over. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of paying for this house, please come see us on tour.
Yeah, that would be great.
Please buy tour tickets. So this is coming out at the end of January. I'm going to be in Tacoma the first weekend of February, Tacoma Comedy Club. As of right now, the Saturday early show is already sold out. So get them fast. I mean, I think at this point there will still be some for the late shows, but go. And then I'm going to be in Philly at the Event Live Casino. That can't be the name of it.
You don't look at
the
me.
Event Center at Live. It's the casino it's just called Live, which seems bizarre to me.
Sure it's not called Live? Here we go. Another argument. Let's do it.
I'm pretty sure it's Live. There is a billboard. I made a video about this. There's a billboard for the show. The promo picture they used on the billboard is one of me 3 years ago. I got a spray tan before I got those photos taken, and it just kind of shot my confidence through the roof in a dangerous way, and I decided I should take promo pictures with just a whole boatload of cleavage.
Yeah, how many spray tans have you gotten?
They make you feel great about yourself. And I'm now 3 years older, and I just don't ever dress like that on stage. And so the billboard doesn't say anything about that it's a comedy show.
It doesn't say comedy.
It doesn't say comedy anywhere on this whole billboard. It's just a picture of me and my tits, and it says my name. And so I just have a feeling like people are going to see the billboard and then show up and think that it's Jello wrestling.
Well, listen, maybe people show up for Jello wrestling. That'll be your chance to get your own belt.
Fuck you.
So
I'm
that'll
going to
be good.
beat you.
I don't think you will.
Physically, I'm going to beat you.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, that I believe. That's why I can't sleep. That's why I have so much trouble sleeping, is because I'm nervous you're going to beat the shit out of me at night. Not true.
With the belt.
Hey, so I'm going to be, you have more dates than that.
Oh, yeah. Philly, February 9th, and then Red Bank, New Jersey, February 10th. Also, not many tickets left for those shows either. And then Stamford, Connecticut for Valentine's Day. A lot of tickets left for those ones, I think. Let me tell you something. I think that's an area of perhaps like a country club sort of demographic.
Sure.
And I think they can smell the Spokane white trash upon me. And I don't know that I'm their cup of tea, but we'll see. And then San Francisco in March, Chicago, Minneapolis, Madison, Wisconsin in May, Salt Lake City, Vegas, so many things coming up. So kelseycook.com for tickets. My God, that was a long promo.
That's awesome. ChadDaniels.com/tour if you want to take a shortcut. I'm going to be at the Blue Room in Springfield, Missouri. Then I'm going to be in Oklahoma City at Bricktown Comedy. Then I'm going to be, listen to this, Key West Comedy in, you guessed it, Key West, Florida. And then I'm going to be in Houston and Addison. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Then I'm going to film another special March 2nd in St. Paul at the Fitzgerald Theater.
Theater. I love that when you say theater now, you have to make it in like a British accent because I know you're afraid to say it.
I say theater. I add another R to it for some reason. I've always done it. And so now I just go theater to make sure I don't.
I wish one of our competition games was just pronouncing theater.
Oh, yeah. I wish it was a pronunciation game too.
I know. I fuck up words more than you do. Okay, so we have been excited to tell you guys that last week, Chad went to his first foosball tournament.
I did. It was very exciting. It was kind of what I expected. It was at a billiards place with 4 foosball tables in the corner, tons of people there. And I'm just going to say this. My God, I didn't know you could play foosball that way.
We've been together this whole time, and I hadn't taken him to like an actual legit foosball tournament, which, by the way, this was just like a weekly bring your partner. It's not like a big national tournament. It's just like a local one in Minneapolis. Yeah. And the players here are so good, though, that Chad had never seen anything like this. And it was so fun to watch you shit your pants.
It was awesome. So a lot of times when we're playing, I have now I know I have a very mediocre left hand, but I thought it was all right. And I shoot it hard and it'll go in and she'll go, "Oh, great shot." Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm 900 pounds and finished a marathon. Way to go, buddy. That's what it is. Because then we went to this thing and guess what? It was not a good shot. It was a lucky, okay shot that rolled slowly towards the net. These people, they put the handle way up on their wrist so they don't spin it, so they can get almost like this chain pulling. Yeah. It's called a rollover, dude. And then there was a 17-year-old kid, Jacob, who is lights out. I mean, this kid was, you ever seen someone with an instrument and you're just like, how the fuck are they doing that? Jacob was that with the table. And his little sister was awesome too.
Yeah. So many great players. Yeah. We initially went thinking that we were going to play together.
You sure did.
You guys know how competitive Chad is. Chad watched, I don't know, 15 seconds of one of the games that was being played. And without me knowing it, went to the tour coordinator.
I quit.
Not the tour coordinator, the tournament director, and was like, "Hey, we have to find a different partner for Kelsey because I'm not gonna be the reason she loses this badly tonight."
I just go, "Please tell me there's an odd number of people here."
and there
he
were.
Goes, "There is. Frank is looking for a partner." I go, "Frank just found a partner because I'm not doing this here or anywhere from now on. I am the Sam I am of foosball. I'm not doing it in a boat. I'm not doing it with a goat. Doesn't matter. Nowhere."
Yeah. So So you were my cheerleader for the night, which I loved.
And it was so fun. You're so stinking good.
Thank you. We won one game. It was exciting. Lost the rest of them, but felt good.
The game you won, you scored 3 goals and you were playing back. So back in Foosball is the goalie and then the 2 guys right in front of the goalie. And she scored 3 goals with that 2-bar thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like, that has to go through 2 5-bars, a 3-bar, another 2-bar, and a goalie. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thanks.
I couldn't believe it. And then it's like one of those things where you go, oh, you've been taking it so easy on me, and now I'm a little embarrassed because I always go, well, I scored 4 on you. I get excited. And then to know that I could never score if she tried her hardest is pretty eye-opening.
It's okay. It's so fun. We also had a fun moment because so foosball, I think, attracts a very specific type of person. And I think also in Minnesota, you get a lot of like real, like burly, almost like lumberjack types of dudes. But I think foosball is also attracts a lot of like metal sort of people.
It's a definite it's a grow your hair out sport. At times. Or very specific facial hair at times.
Yeah. Like a lot of male foosball players to me look like if you saw them in an alley, you could be fucking terrified, but then they open their mouth and they're like, oh, hi, how are you? They're like the nicest people on the planet. So you looked around, we were talking about it, and you're like, yeah, this looks like a lot of...
I said cover band bass players.
Yeah, a lot of bass players and cover bands.
Yeah, because I grew up in northern Minnesota, and that's exactly what they look like.
Yeah, and... but it is, I think, also a little like of a Chris Farley vibe with everybody. And so I said, System of a Down by the River. I would love to know if that is a cover band that exists.
Oh my God. I laughed very hard at that because it was perfect.
I should make some keychains, perhaps.
Not keychains. Let's start a band.
Yeah. So we went to a foosball tournament. That was fun. And then we also had a not so great situation night before last while you were in New York having
in New York City.
International cuisine.
Big time.
Poe, our dog, ate a tampon for the second time in like 8 months. And I didn't realize he ate it until it had been probably 7 or 8 hours since he ate it. So I ran him down to the emergency vet where it cost $450 to induce vomiting, which he did not throw it up because it had been long enough that it then just went into his intestine. And then the instructions are basically like, you have to just wait for him to poop it out and hope he doesn't die before then if the tampon were to get stuck in his intestine.
Right.
So that was a pretty much sleepless night for me to then just walk him the next morning and have him take the most expensive shit a dog has ever taken because he did poop the tampon out.
Yeah. Goodness.
Thank God. And I've realized our neighbors must think I'm such a goddamn psycho because I'm on the Mark Your Territory tour right now. That's the name of my tour. And I wanted to get a funny promo picture of Poe peeing on like a fire hydrant or a tree or something. And so like a month ago, I took him on a walk and every time he peed, I'd get my phone out and start like paparazzi taking pictures of him peeing. And so if anybody was watching me, they saw me take several different photos at different times of my dog peeing, which is like, okay, the fuck are you doing with those pictures? And then 2 days ago, or I guess it was yesterday when I took him on the walk and he pooped, I had to pick through his poop with the poop bag to make sure a tampon came out. So to watch that has to be very disturbing to have like an adult just like going through poop and then like cheering.
I was going to say, if you celebrated, that's when it gets crazy.
That's when people are concerned.
Well, I'm glad he pooped it out because I have a joke about it. And I say that he holds it in his mouth, and that's a good thing, because I think if he swallowed it, it would kill him.
Right.
And this is the second time that this has happened, and I don't think we're going to see a third.
No.
We've had our discussions.
We won't. If we see a third, I don't think we'll see each other again.
Perhaps.
Because we, we had a conversation about it. Look at the smile on your face.
Chad, I think we have differing opinions on how hard it is to keep a tampon from a dog.
Yeah, we do. We do have differing opinions.
Yes, we do.
My point of view is that if you have not owned a dog as an adult, especially like a 50-pound dog, you don't know what they're capable of. So the first time that Poe ate a tampon, we have garbages with lids that you have to like step on a little pedal and then the lid comes up. There was a garbage can that was getting too full, and so the lid wasn't completely closed, and Poe was able to go in and get a tampon. This time around, the lid was completely flush. It was completely closed. And when I was gone, he still managed to get in there, which to me, I don't understand. Like, I'm look at your face. I'm trying to picture how he would do that, because he didn't like knock it over. So that means he either knows how to step on the pedal, which is terrifying.
He doesn't.
Or use his nose to somehow, but it's like there's not like a ridge. I don't know how he would do that. He did, but I'm just saying, to me, it seemed like there is no way he can get into this garbage can.
Okay. And
your thoughts, because you've owned a dog.
Yes. My thoughts are dogs can get into anything. And
I don't, to me, but I think that's an exaggeration. Because like, look around our home. He can't get into that closet.
Okay, dogs for sure can get into a garbage with a lid with zero resistance, that is nose high on the ground. My rule is, if you wouldn't put a steak there, don't put a tampon there.
That's a good rule.
That's a pretty fucking great rule.
That's a good rule.
Yep. Because listen, ladies, whatever you guys are painting with, dogs love it. Dogs really love it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He loves it more than he hates puking.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. He's really willing to roll the dice.
Yeah. He apparently does not care if he's going to have to go to the vet and be made to puke, which
this
has
is a
to
dog,
not be fun.
Yeah. This is a dog that turns his nose to consequences. Yeah. Because there was a coyote.
Oh my God, yeah. In
our backyard, and he's barking and then runs down and chases the coyote. He's a fucking golden doodle, which, by the way, I don't know if he thought he met a friend and he was going to play with him. But coyotes are hungry. It's wintertime. So, bruh, you got to scooch.
Yeah, he's been kind of asking for death many times this week. And
I'm wondering if it's suicide. If it's dog suicide, where they're like, I'm going to eat this. Oh, they fixed me. Well, I guess I'll go bark at this thing that can eat me.
He just seemed to like truly, the second he pooped a tampon out, it's like, is there a coyote anywhere? It's like immediately looking for the next.
Maybe let's not take him for walks over a bridge. Yeah. Let's avoid that.
No rooftop walks.
Yeah.
For Poe. So we've had an eventful few days.
It has been. And now that you know how we handle things in our home, should we try to answer questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
We have gotten some feedback recently that you guys really like the listener questions and like hearing our advice. So that's awesome. We're happy to start reading more questions each episode. So that's what we're going to try today.
And you are going to have to deal with some of our stories, though. That's just part of it.
That is part of it. But if you want us to try and give you some advice, you can write into pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com and we'll do our best. Mm-hmm. We will do our best.
I'm going to tell you, my stuff isn't advice. My stuff is just a conversation about your question. I don't want to stamp advice on it.
Okay.
I don't think that I'm...
Oh, stop doing that. You're so silly. It is advice and it's okay. We already went through this.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. This email, we are starting out so strong. I can't wait to hear what you think of this.
Okay.
This email is titled, is it titled or entitled?
Does it think it deserves something that it hasn't earned?
You know what I mean?
Oh.
I'm genuinely asking grammatically what's correct.
It's titled, I believe.
Oh. But don't you think you've heard things be like, this is entitled, blah, blah, blah?
I'm not sure. I really don't know.
I want to know now.
I would say titled. The only entitled I know is like people that go, I deserve this.
The people who are coming to my show in Stanford.
Whoa.
Probably. I'm making such a judgment. I just know that it's like a more wealthy area. They're probably going to be wonderful.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah. I'm just giving you shit, Stanford. Okay. So this is titled or entitled The Boner Pill Predicament.
I already love it.
My favorite Nancy Drew novel. Okay. They say, hey, Chad and Kelsey, love you both and the show. Welcome to Minnesota, Kelsey. Thank you. Been here for about 10 years and beyond the winter hellscapes, it's pretty nice. That seems to be the general attitude of you Minnesotans. And it's pretty funny to me because the winter hellscapes are 80% of the time. Been married to my beautiful wife for 18 years. Since turning 40 a few years ago, I have been having some ED issues where essentially the dong would deflate mid-dance, ruining the fun. You know what? You're a poet.
Yeah.
I love your wording. It was pretty sporadic at first, but lately it's been happening more often, so I've turned to modern medicine for a bit of assistance. I didn't tell my wife because she didn't think it was necessary, and I don't want her to think this has anything to do with her. So since getting the magic boner makers, the sex has been great. However, because they take up to 30 minutes to kick in, I have to somehow predict my wife's willingness to have
I never thought of that.
Yeah, to have some quality time. And if I guess wrong, I've lost that pill and I'm stuck with an overstimulated hog. It's happened quite a few times already. So, do I risk telling my wife so we can plan ahead, or just keep dosing myself and taking care of the consequences myself? Thanks all, Limpy. That's the fifth Spice Girl.
That's tough to call yourself limpy because every 4 years you have to hear Olympian quite a bit, and you're just like, oh God damn it.
Oh God.
First of all, hate that you called it a hog. Secondly, yeah, this having to predict is pretty wild.
I think you got to tell her, because it's like the way you talked about it during the episode about the people who had different drinking amounts. Mm-hmm. And you're like, do you want to be dealing with this for 40 more years? This is obviously a very different situation, but I'm like, do you want to have to kind of carry the weight of this secret and trying to figure out all these calculations I just feel like that's such a barrier between you and your wife that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, and I'm very judgmental, so I'd like to know what you're thinking about when you lose your boners. Are you sitting there and you're having sex and everything's going great, and then you're like, oh shit, it's garbage day tomorrow. I'm going to have to go, I got to wheel that out. Oh God, recyclables too? Shit. And all of a sudden then you're just, well, as you said, limpy. And so I just wonder like what you're thinking about. Could you be more focused in? I don't know. And also, sometimes when you're trying not to complete the mission, you do have to focus on something else. And then maybe that's what's happening too.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would
Tell your wife to come faster is my answer. My God.
We just lost every female listener. Please know he's kidding. He kids every 5 seconds. He's not being sincere.
I thought we were supposed to be funny.
I know. Okay. I just sometimes, if somebody doesn't know you though, like if it's their first time listening and they hear that, I don't want people to be like, what a fucking asshole.
Well, of course. Just trying to lighten the mood, everybody. We got a guy that can't keep a boner. So I'm just trying to Just get us back to a little bit of fun.
Listen, I think regardless of what you're thinking about, what the reason is behind the ED issues, which, by the way, I know that there have to be so many dudes that go through that. Just know, I'm sure you are very, very far from alone. But I'm just saying, if you can't figure out what's going on and you do have to continue to take medication for it, I get how you would be worried about your wife potentially taking offense to it. I'm trying to put myself in her position.
Yeah, but I also agree with that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if you said that to me. I also think I would maybe have a hard time being like, oh, are you just not attracted to me enough? Or
right. Yep.
you think about other things. And so this is a tough one. But I do think you should talk about it with her.
I do too. And I'm going to say you know, right here. So for me, if that happened to me, it doesn't yet, but it will eventually. And I am going to get those pills because I've heard they're awesome and they make your dick way harder. But anyways, if that happened to me, I would say I just wanted to try them because I didn't want you to think this was your fault, because it isn't at all. It's my fault. So I wanted to take responsibility for that and try this and see if it would work, and then say, how do you feel about it? Right. Put the ball back into her court.
And not even your fault. Just maybe you could I'm sure you already have done some research, but maybe you can just give her some of like the medical reasons why this happens and how it's like not at all a reflection of how you feel about her. And I think it's also, I'm just, again, putting myself in her position. I think it's important to say that like, you don't want to take the spontaneity out of sex. And so again, I don't know what you guys, like how you approach sex. If you do say like, hey, do you want to have sex today? Or do you want to have sex right now? Or if you do, just kind of like make it happen. But I just think it would be good for you to let her know that there's no pressure on her to have to like make you come if she's not in the mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. I mean, yeah. I don't like any time it feels like it's just for me, I'm out. That's no fun.
Yeah. Which is so fun. Like, I mean, such an amazing man for that reason and a million other ones. But just, I've never met a guy who's so like, if I'm not gonna come, like you don't want to do anything.
In the trenches. We're in the trenches.
Yeah. So, I would try to be as open with her as possible. And, yeah.
But I would also say to every other guy listening, if you're having trouble with that, these pills clearly work because we have an overstimulated hog on our hands.
Well, and I love that you're like, the sex has been great since then. And so I think that's also a good thing to say when you're talking about it with your wife is like, this is part of why things have been great and I want them to continue to be, so I'd like to keep using this, but I just want you to know like this doesn't have anything to do with my attraction to you. And if I take one of these pills and you're not in the mood, or even if you tell me you were and then you change your mind or get tired, it's just like, that's totally fine. And then I think it's great.
Yes.
Maybe you can send a follow-up if you have that conversation. I'd love to know.
Like that.
Yeah, I would love to know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one is called a comedy ethics question.
Okay.
Do you want to read this one, by the way?
No.
I bet I read them every time.
I'll have to go get my glasses, so I'll do that next time.
Oh, yes.
I have glasses now. So, you can't get a boner? Well, I can't even see if I have a boner. So how about that?
He looks so hot in glasses. I'm excited for you guys to see. So this person says, hello, Kelsey and Chad. I've been following both of your careers for a little while now through a comedy chain that went Taylor Tomlinson to Kelsey and also Dustin Nickerson and now to Chad and Cy. I've got a comedy ethics question I thought I'd try running by you. A little over a year ago, I went to see a comedian do a show at Mystic Lake Casino, and this person is not any of you that I've just listed.
Thank you.
Just the most passive-aggressive email. That'd be very funny. I just saw somebody who their dog ate a tampon and was really upset. No, I'm kidding. They're someone you would definitely know of, but I've not heard you talk about them like they're a friend. Anyway, a few weeks prior to this live show, they had also put out a new Netflix special, which I made the mistake of watching before this live show.
Ooh.
So this is an important part of this email, is it was a few weeks prior to seeing them live, their Netflix special came out. I call it a mistake because the live show was 95% the same as the Netflix special was, and I found that very disappointing as I already knew all of the jokes. A smaller percentage of the best material from that mixed with a majority of new stuff would have been fine or even great, but as it was, I felt like I'd paid to see a rerun.
Mm-hmm.
I still like this comedian a lot and never said anything online about this or emailed their podcast or anything like that. My question for you is if I would have been within my rights as a comedy consumer to have done so, or do you think that this is still a lousy thing for me to do? At this point, I feel like the statute of comedy limitations has run out, and I'm not going to raise a stink on this case, whatever you say, but I'd like to know what you think in case I ever come across a situation like this again.
Interesting.
Yes. And they say we can say their name if we so wish. So this is from Steve.
Okay, Steve. Dad? So sometimes I get emailed and it off my website, chaddaniels.com, where my tour dates are. And it will say, hey, I watched mixed reviews on YouTube. Is this going to be the same hour? And I say no. But I think asking is a good idea, because if you don't want to see the same jokes, that's fine. I think when you're saying, some of the greatest hits from the Netflix special and then, mostly new stuff would have been fine. That's for you. Because I bet there were a lot of people in there that hadn't seen the Netflix special, and it is important for comedians to do well for new people too.
Yep.
So that is tough. If they advertise a new hour and don't do a new hour, then I think absolutely you're within your right to be like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
Or what the fuck, she? I don't know. But I guess I don't know if they didn't advertise a new hour and you didn't ask. And then I understand wanting the new stuff. I tell people this is going to be a new hour, but I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. And then it's like a lot of people at the show are excited because I'm telling them, you're going to see the beginning of this. And then when I put this hour out, you're going to see how far it's come, but you're the only ones that are going to get to see this version of it.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of make it a not special thing, but just maybe announce it and let them know, that this might not be the best because it's brand new.
Yeah.
It's hard to write comedy. It's hard to write a new hour until you really get in the flow of it. And you don't know what this person, if they have a Netflix special and they're doing Mystic Lake, there's a good chance they have a lot of other shit going on. So maybe comedy kind of fell to the wayside a little bit.
Yeah. I love everything you just said.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's, I think a good rule of thumb is if you see a comedian within like a month, even 2 months of their special coming out, there's a higher chance that you're going to see some material overlap just because they might not have had enough time at that point to really get a new hour of material put together and polished enough to where, if you saw somebody at Mystic Lake, you probably paid a decent amount to see them.
Right. Yeah.
So like Chad said, not only is it important to give people who maybe have never seen you before a great first impression, but if somebody's paying a decent amount to see you, you want to just give them a good show, period. You don't want to walk out there with a notebook and like workshop an hour like it's an open mic, because that's also doesn't feel fair to people. So it really varies on the time frame between when somebody shoots their special and when it actually comes out. But nowadays I'm seeing some people like shoot a special and have it out within 3 months.
Not me. Took a year. Now.
Actually, 2 months. I know 2 months is the turnaround. True. And so that's really like, my God. I I would say try to cut people slack if you are going to see them right after their special came out, because like we are humans, we're not robots. It takes time for us to come up with things sometimes and sharpen it up.
I am a robot. I write my comedy with AI, and that's why I'm so good at the algorithm and social media. So it's a little confusing sometimes because I promise you there are fans on the exact opposite side of you.
Right.
And here's what I mean. It's kind of like the military. And what I mean by that is I will say thank you for your service to one military person, and they will say, it's my job. You don't have to thank me. It's like, okay. And then you don't say it to someone else because you're like, well, I guess it's their job. I won't say it. And then they'll be like, I mean, thank you wouldn't kill you. And it's like, we got to pick a side here, everybody. Right?
Yeah.
So you didn't like the fact that they did part of their special or a lot of their special, but I've had people come up to me. I mean, even recently, they're like, oh man, I brought 20 people from work hoping you would do the IHOP bit. And that bit's 7 years old.
Yeah.
So, you do get the back and the forth. Would it be a good idea to make everyone happy? Bring in as much new stuff as you can. And then at the end, maybe say, does anyone want to hear an old bit? I mean, that works. I've seen Brian Regan do that and just murders. But yeah, it's hard. I would ask before you go. And Kelsey's right. It does take a while to write that new hour. So I would give it more than, was it 3 weeks?
Yeah, a few weeks.
I'd give it a few weeks, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you can't.
Come see our comedy.
We can't make everybody happy. It's true. I'm always shocked. I mean, I put a lot of pressure on myself to get new material out there so quickly, and I am shocked at how many people will come through a merch line and be like, oh my God, like, I'm so glad that you still kept that one bit from the special because I brought friends hoping you would do it. And it's like, I also, as a comedy consumer, if I watch a comedian special and then I see them live, I get excited if it's a bit I loved from the special because I don't remember things word for word a lot of the time. So I'm like, oh, great. I get to relive this joke. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And I would rather watch a comedian eat shit than have any luck whatsoever. That's one of my favorite things to do. If you know they're funny and they're struggling, I cannot get enough of that because they can kill and it's just not their night.
Yeah. Okay. So this says, not a question, just a share. And it says, hi, Kelsey and Chad, loving the podcast. I just divorced a man who is 14 years older than me. Funny, sarcastic, and ball busting in the same way as Chad.
Okay.
He leaned so heavily on sarcasm as a coping mechanism, there were no moments of sincerity.
Oh, is this from Kelsey? Oh my God, are you writing your own questions?
I know when this started, I was like, oh, I don't know where this is going to go. This is interesting. It took a really long time for me to notice the imbalance. I would say, I would give anything to hear you say something sincere right now. His response was always, that's not who you married. Indeed, but it's who I divorced.
Oh,
shit. Oh my God.
Real good.
Yeah,
That's
good for you. Spicy.
Fuck, I like that.
I like that too.
Are you the fifth Spice Girl?
I love that. And they say, so it's heartwarming and healing to hear the love balanced with the humor. I'm sensitive and conflict averse in the same way as Kelsey, thoughtfully stopping to process before moving forward with communication. This quality was neither understood nor appreciated by the ex, so it was extra powerful to hear you two discuss it on an episode today. The love and mutual respect between you two is very special, an important reminder that it's possible. Thank you for keeping me company in the post-divorce healing. I've been watching on YouTube, love seeing the pets. Take care. Oh, Mia says hi. Nice. I was going to pick up her pot of wave, but thank you. God, that's a really nice email.
Super nice. And sometimes when you take time before you say anything, it's not necessarily thoughtful. It's boring as shit. Get to the point. I'm teasing. This is nice. See? Sarcasm. I bet you hated it.
It is a lot.
I'm sincere way more than I'm sarcastic.
That's true. You are.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine what that must have been like if this person really was sarcastic all the time. I mean, how would anybody deal with that? That's a lot.
That is a ton. I know people like that. And sometimes you just have to go, hey man, Not interested right now.
Right.
Like
Well,
we're having a real conversation here. I don't have time for this shit.
yeah. Well, I think it's such a defense mechanism or just a way to keep people a little back and not let people in. Because if you're always joking, then it's like, well,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. I let people in immediately. We have another question?
Are we friends? Shout out to if you've been listening since the first episode. Chad's neighbor. Are we friends, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a more serious email that says for the title, I never know what to put here. I love that. Love the honesty.
Yeah.
So they say, loving the podcast, keep it up. I'm sorry to hear about Kelsey's mother. My mom was diagnosed with the same thing earlier this year. If you don't know, it's my mom and this person's mother have frontotemporal dementia. So I'm so sorry to hear about your mom as well. Based on Kelsey's description, it sounds like her mother is in the, air quotes, fun part of dementia where she may not be aware of her condition. My mom is not in that stage yet, so it's very difficult on her. My mom will start sentences, and about halfway through, they become just a string of words with no apparent connection to the next. She is aware when it starts to happen and then just trails off. This particular stage is very difficult to handle, and I find myself oddly looking forward to the part where the condition progresses to the point she is no longer aware of it. It doesn't feel great to have moments where you wish this horrible disease would progress further. Did you experience something similar, and any tips on how you navigated this stage? Looking forward to seeing Chad when he comes to Portland, Oregon. Oh, man. First of all, thank you so much for writing in and sharing that with us. Again, I am so sorry that you are also going through this. I just have gotten to a place with it where it's hard to imagine a more painful thing for either the person going through it or their family. I mean, it's just like, it feels like, how can something so horrible exist? You know what I mean? Okay. It's like so torturous and just awful. So I understand what you mean, where you're watching them be aware of what's happening and yet nobody can fix it, right? There's no cure for this disease as of now. And my mom, before she got to the stage that she's currently in, where yes, she is less just aware in general, she would be in the earlier stages very, very anxious and very freaked out and very paranoid. She would have times where, what was the thing, that one particular thing that she kind of kept obsessing over, that like Russians,
the Russian mob was coming to get her.
Yeah, the Russian mob was coming to get her. And there was another time, actually a couple years before that, where she thought she was like being followed, and when somebody's in that place, that to me is one of the most painful stages for them and for loved ones, because they are coming to you in complete sincerity going like, the Russian mob is after us, or so-and-so is following us, trying to harm us. We have to do something. And it's excruciating to have to look at the person and tell them that that's not real and that everything's fine, because to them it's 100% real. And for you, especially like, you know, telling my mom, for her own daughter to be like, what you're experiencing isn't real. It's, you can just see it's like the loneliest feeling you could give them, because they feel like nobody believes me, but I know that this is true. And it's impossible, because the alternative is to go, oh my God, the Russian mob's coming. Well, okay, we got to pack all our stuff. We got to get out of here. And that's also obviously not an okay response. You can't give into their paranoia and act with them and try to resolve it that way, because that's also dangerous, right? So I felt like redirecting had become kind of the best thing in those times, or being like, okay, I'm going to call somebody about it. In the meantime, why don't we do this? and like see if it passes. Like just anything to redirect their attention. I know this is easier said than done, and sometimes it's just not possible. So yeah, it's just the fucking worst. And I go to a support group online sometimes now for family members of people with frontotemporal dementia, and that's been helpful just to know that there are other people going through it and hear other people's experiences. So if sounds like you're in Portland, if you look online and see if there are any like in Oregon that you can just be a part of on Zoom, that has been like, that's a big tip that I feel like I can share with you, is that's been really helpful for me too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have any advice? But I know.
I mean, the only thing I would say is if you have loved ones or friends that you want to talk to about this, it's okay to say, I don't need your advice. I just want you to listen. That's one thing I would tell you. It's okay to say that, because that's probably what you need. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So thinking of you. I'm so sorry. Should we do one more?
We should.
Okay. Yeah. I know it's a heavy thing, guys. Okay. So this is titled Episode 4, Hospitalized in Alabama. So referencing that episode we did, they say, hello, I'm loving the podcast. I was lucky enough to stumble across Kelsey over a year ago and recently found Chad as well. Haven't been able to see either live yet, but next time you're through the Kentucky area, I'll try my best. Not sure I have a question, but maybe a suggestion for the issue of people using their phones during your performances, which I agree is disrespectful to the performer, audience, and the venue. But I'm a rule follower, so I've learned to not get so frustrated with it. Maybe at the beginning of the set, you take a second and let the audience snap a photo or something from their seats, or at the end of the show, you have someone do a selfie of you and the audience in the background that people can then borrow from your social media streams. My wife and I have enjoyed our selfies from the end of the shows with Angela Johnson and Fortune Feimster. It's a nice option since we follow the rules and don't want to be those people in the audience. I know this can't be an option at every venue, excuse me, since they are smaller, like the Comedy Caravan, but maybe from time to time. Since the pandemic, we're making a better effort to be out and supportive of the comedians we enjoy and like to document our visit. Thanks, and have a nice holiday season. So this was an email from before. Yeah. Thank you so much for writing in. And that's such a great suggestion. And I did have a light bulb go off when I read this email, because I was like, oh yeah, that's so smart, because I've been not going out for the meet and greet part of shows as much lately, just for safety reasons, because unfortunately sometimes people being crazy online. But there are, like I said, that episode, so many of you who are so wonderful that I would love to take a picture with. And yeah, maybe I can start doing that at the end of the show on stage.
That'd be a good idea. Maybe announce it that you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you say, so, hey, listen, videos aren't allowed, pictures aren't allowed, keep your phones in. I'm going to take a picture at the end of the show and I'll post it on social media. And then that's also a good way to get people to follow you on social media to get the picture. But then when they have their phone out after you make that announcement, you can just drop the fucking hammer and be like, listen, I'm so sorry, you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so tough. Tough being the playground monitor.
Well, it's just, I think if you say it politely initially and they still do it, then you shouldn't have any problem kicking them out, because it's a matter of respect at that point. And it's like, that doesn't come with the ticket price. It's not like, hey, it's $35 for a ticket to see this show, and you get 2 pictures out of it, and you get a picture with your arm around the person, and you get this and you get that. It isn't.
Right.
I mean, I'm not even trying to be a dick, because I'm so thankful for the people that come out. But the contractual exchange is ticket price for stand-up comedy show.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to be a dick. I go out. I am very lucky. I don't have crazy people online. People are very nice to me online. Also, I don't check it a ton. Maybe there are crazy people. But so I go out and then, do like pictures and stuff like that. But I can't imagine anyone, if you made that announcement, would still be that big of a dick to do that.
Yeah, I hope not.
That's a fantastic suggestion.
It's such a good suggestion, so thank you so much.
And Comedy Caravan, you must be down in Louisville.
Let's do one more, actually. We have time.
Let's do it.
So this is titled Important Question for Minnesotans. They say, hi, Chad and Kelsey. Really enjoy the podcast. Keep making content. My wife and I have been married for 10 years now.
Congrats.
Wow, feels longer. JK, love her lots. Well, you and Chad would be best friends.
Yeah. Also, congrats to 18 years, 5 questions ago.
Oh, yeah. So many long marriages. And moved to Minnesota from Colorado 5 years ago. We also have 2 children under 3. Any advice on any advice on at-home date night activities? We're fairly tired after work and getting the little ones to bed. That date nights often turn into movie nights or playing a board game if we can muster the energy. If either of you have any suggestions, let us know. Oh, and the important Minnesota questions: favorite place to get wild rice soup, favorite place to get a Juicy Lucy. If Chad doesn't say Matt's, proceed with caution. Thank you. And both, please keep up the great work. Love your comedy. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna start from the bottom.
Okay. Start from the bottom. Now we're here.
It's obviously Matt's. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not crazy that they don't have onion rings, and I'm not crazy that they serve you a can of pop or soda wherever you're from, and instead of a glass with ice. I will tell you the Juicy Lucy's are incredible. Wild rice soup, I got to tell you, go truck stop on the way home in Clearwater. I love their wild rice soup there because they have great sandwiches as well. Now, let's get to the
advice.
I think you and I are going to bring up the same thing.
Okay.
We don't always agree.
You go ahead.
There's a card game.
Yes.
I knew it. What's it called, though?
We're Not Really Strangers.
Okay. It's called We're Not Really Strangers. I hated it at first because it's asking you personal questions.
Yes.
But it is a really great way to not have to, you can sit on the couch. You don't have to worry about the board game folding back up and, if you're playing Monopoly, the fucking thimble in the car going to free parking in the middle. You're just sitting there with these cards and you're asking each other questions. You could pour a glass of wine if you guys drink, do something like that. And it is just it's a reconnect, which I didn't realize. Sorry to everyone else in my life, but I didn't realize you needed to do that kind of stuff. And so you really do reconnect. And then there's laughing, but there's some serious questions. A lot of laughing.
Yeah.
If you're sarcastic 50% of the time, you could throw some jokes in. But anyways, that's what I would say. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there are 2 little pencils in it and a little notepad. And the last step every time you play is that you write the other person a note, and that other person isn't allowed to open it until you're apart.
Oh yeah,
we didn't do that last time. I know we didn't do it last time. We did it the first time though. Yep. But you can't just immediately open it. You have to pocket it and wait until either they leave the house or whatever, you're at work the next day. But it's it's meant to be played with anybody. That's why it's called We're Not Really Strangers. It's meant to be this sort of card game that you can sit down with a group of people at a party and ask them questions. There are 3 different levels. Yep. So the first one is very surface level stuff where it's based on talking to me so far, what do you think I do for work?
Yeah, so that's not going to work for you. Right. Because if you don't know what your spouse does for work, you should have been asking these questions a long fucking time ago.
That's a real problem, not a pretend problem, for sure.
That's a real one.
Yeah, but I can't remember what the instructions were. It's if you do already know this person, those sort of cards, you flip it into something else. But one of the cards for the really deep level when we just played was how, do you feel close to me and how can you feel closer to me or something like that?
Yeah, it is interesting because these are questions that when you're sitting down with a loved one and having conversations, you're going to say, how's work? Hey, did you hear what the kids did at school? That kind of stuff. You're probably not going to ask that question. Yeah. And that's a really important question.
Yeah. Do you feel close to me right now? What can I do to feel closer to you?
Right.
And
then there's one question in level 3 that just says wanna fuck. And you want to get to that one as fast as possible.
I hope that's kind of helpful. I know you said that usually you guys just resort to board games or movie, and Chad and I are not the most generally when we're connecting, we're just doing stuff around the house. Sometimes we'll go out and do something fun, but we've turned our basement into our little version of an arcade. We've got a foosball table, a ping pong table, and a darts board now. So if you guys are into that sort of a thing, maybe trying to invest in like something that you could do that feels like going out to a bar, but just in your house. But I mean, we're not really strangers. You can get it on Amazon. It's not much money, and it's such an interesting, fun game.
Or here's another thing I was thinking of too. We watch Great British Bake Off.
Great British Baking Show.
British Baking Show, even though they call it Bake Off on there a bunch. I just want you to know that.
Oh,
anyways, so I suggested this, which I think it's kind of like a fantasy football version of that, where you write down all the names of the people that are on a season, and then you put it in a bowl, and then you each pick every other. And so you are sitting there. If there's 12 contestants, you each have 6 names, and then every time someone goes home, you have to cross it off. And what you could also do is, try to bake something that they make on there the next night. So you're watching it every other night or whenever you can. I know you have kids, but try to bake something on there, or, because movies for us, when we're watching movies, we just sit there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of it. Sometimes she'll turn away when there's a bloody scene, and I'll have to poke her when it's time to watch again. But otherwise, there's not a lot of back and forth.
He usually pokes me when it's actually not done, so then I'm scarred for life. No, I'm kidding. He's good.
Oh, you're kidding? Well, rubbing off. But I do think stuff like that is really fun too. I mean, I know with kids, dude, it is tough. But if you can make those little things, even like a little scavenger hunt with notes all over your house, if you can plan that, because they're not going to find the notes right away. So you can take a whole week to put those notes places, and then have, her come back to like a foot rub or something. I mean, I don't know, but there's always something you can do once the kids go to bed that's not crazy expensive. And I think home date night is about the connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then get into that card that says wanna fuck.
Yeah, most importantly.
Yeah. It's date night.
Pop the boner pill. Let's go. Let her rip. Okay, guys. So please write into pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com if you want us to try to answer an advice question. And share it around. Give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and come see us on tour.
Do it.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.